For our session, we're going to cover 8 separate topics that kind of resolve around the policies and procedures that your facility is dealing with every day. And one thing I'm going to say about this is our policies are our choice. They're what we do, they work for us. Your policies definitely should be your own. They need to fit your facility, your character, your brand, and your products. And what the most important takeaway from this that you should have is that you need to get your policies documented and done, correct, distributed to the employees that need them, and available. And also review them commonly when you can.
So we picked kind of 8 pinch points that we frequently hear recyclers talk about, they ask us about, the recyclers page on Facebook, they're repeated topics that keep coming up. The way that we do it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way, like Pat said, but it works for us to a degree that we have less headaches every day, and that's the goal. Because if you as an owner or a manager, if you're managing less or you're involved less in the problem, the situation, you will be more profitable. You're going to do other great things that will make you money. So hiring the right people is the first kind of topic that I wanted to start with. These are somewhat in order of your process as a business. We have had extremely good success with hiring people. 2 months ago, roughly, that pay period, we had 14 new hires. And that was pretty significant for us. That put us at 74 employees. Our goal was 80 employees before we entered winter. Winter in Minnesota, snow, ice, it's dollars. It's just dollars. There's accidents. People don't know how to drive. They do know how to drive. They think they know how to drive. You all know the scenarios. But we wanted to go into winter strong with inventory and with people. This is the process that we do. I simplified it. Any of these topics we could talk an hour on, but I simplified them. A, review the application. We do use Indeed. We've had great success on Facebook with job postings. There's a lot of other opportunities. After the application is reviewed, phone interview. Are they a fit? Everybody does a phone interview. Fantastic. You do a phone interview. The person should be asking you questions as well as you're asking them questions, but you're really trying to determine, are they a fit? Do I even want this person around? Most important, you're selling them on the opportunity. You're trying to find out enough about them that this is great, you need to come and work for us. I want you here. Next, we call at least one prior employer and 2 references, with their permission, of course. This is super important. Most owner/managers skip this step. They don't have time. Well, I can tell you that we never have time to do things right, but we always manage to have time to do it over. This step is going to save you from so much. What you're doing in these calls, they don't need to be long. They can be 1-2 minutes. They don't need to be a big deal, but you're trying to find out enough about the applicant that when you do the next step and call the applicant back to schedule an in-person interview, you share pieces that they learned. I talked with the pastor at your church, and they said that you blah, 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 blah. Boy, your past employer, Jimmy, just couldn't say enough great about you. He told me about the one time you did blah, 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 blah. So you're kind of trying to find out enough with your calls with the prior employers, with their references. You're trying to find out enough that you're building a bond. So when you set up that interview, because you want them to come in, they actually show up. Well, who would have thought they showed up for the interview? That's a good first step to success. For the in-person interview, for us, it's 2 to 3 hours depending on the position. We tell the applicant up front, the interview goes like this. We do the in-person interview. If they suck, see you later, bye. That was 15 to 30 minutes, they're gone. But we are usually very confident at that point, if they're coming in for the interview, we're ready to give them a full tour. The tour takes almost an hour. We want them to see everything. We don't need to hire somebody that's scared of heights, and we have a 3-story mez deck system for storing sheet metal, and they're one day on the top of that on the radio because they can't get down because they're scared of heights. That happened. Not a great first day. Nonetheless, we do the tour. We administer a skills test. Every position has a skill test, whether it's sales, whether it's QA, which is our shipping department, whether it's dismantling. Your skills tests need to be all the same. So whatever you're doing for that test for dismantling, we have the same car every time. They pull the same parts out of the same car, and yes, after the test is over, we reassemble the parts. Do it again, do it again. And that simple test, a good dismantler will pull those parts, which include a radio out of the dash. It includes a seat. It includes very basic pieces, interior based. But those that do that within time frame that we've established, they're going to be fantastic when they take cars apart. Those that struggle, and it took them 45 minutes, this will never be a fit. For sales, we do an aptitude test. We do a typing test. Yep, you actually need to type if you're going to work for us as a salesperson. It's required. We've said no to really great applicants, sadly, because they could not pass a typing test at 35 words a minute. We give them time to come back and try it again. They can never pass it again. But we want the right people. And then we present a job offer. All of that's done in that initial in-person interview. It's all done. If it's accepted, then we schedule all of the post-offer screening, which includes drug testing. It includes physical ability testing. But that's after job offers on the table. In Minnesota, that's the law. That's how we have to do it. Sales presentation. This may seem out of sequence for you, but it's actually the start of everything that we do every day. As a full-service yard, sales presentation is extremely important. It's kind of, yep, you can say buying cars, inventorying the cars, all important steps, absolutely. But our focus is really on the people, and then how do we handle orders? All of our staff answer the phone the same way. It doesn't matter if they're in sales, or if they're in payable or receivable, if they're in our shipping department and they're arranging, they all answer the phone the same way. Thank you for choosing Pam's Auto. How can I help you? Because they chose us. Whoever called, they chose to call us. We didn't call them, it was their choice. They could call anyone in this room, but today they chose us. We stole that from Enterprise. Identify the customer, use their name. I know you hear this all the time, you hear it very frequently. It's extremely, extremely critical. The name on our orders, the name is carried throughout, and it's so important, and especially with some other pieces that we'll get to. Qualify the customer. As I go through these steps, you may think, oh my gosh, these calls would take forever. Our average call is just under 3 minutes. Qualifying the customer is, who is the customer? Where are they calling from? We do have a lot of electronic controls in play that assist and help a salesperson with qualifying of the customer and who the customer is. But that said, this step is extremely important, as is number 2, qualifying the repair. Where is the vehicle? Who's doing the repair? Are you doing the repair? Many, many of you know these steps in this process and these questioning, but I can't say enough about how important it is. Because number 5 is when you're going to set expectations. You're going to lay the table for this transaction. You're going to go, okay, well, I know who the customer is. I know who's doing the repair. I know what eligibility they have for a warranty. We discussed what's covered by the warranty. We have the description of the part and timeline. They laid the entire table. Their goal is, today we're going to have steak dinner. So let's get everything set perfect so that when we get to the point of presenting a price, one price, and we qualify the price, and we ask more questions like, how does that sound to you, that they can get feedback to do the last step, closing the sale. Again, this is kind of an overview. There's a lot of subtopics within this. But this has been a documented way that we do sales presentation, coupled with the fact that it's going to sound really crazy, but when we hire a new salesperson, we have 17 salespeople right now. When we hire a new salesperson, they are actually in training for 2 months before they answer one phone call. And you go, how could you possibly do that? Because we're very driven about our brand and the way that we do sales process, that person that answers the phone, the very first phone call that they accepted, very first one for us, it sounds exactly like this 20-year salesperson when they answer the phone. And it's crazy how similar they sound because we're so intense on the training. Now in that 2 months, they will spend time inventorying a car and another car and another car with an employee that's trained in that operation. They will go into QA and they will see all the inspection processes. They will go into dismantling. They're going to hang out with a dismantler for this morning. Yep, today we're going to take this Mercedes apart. Let's go. They aren't going to do operations. They're just observing. They're the shadow. Because when they're on the phone, we want them to be extremely excited about what we do and how we do it. No, I was back there and I saw how they packaged that headlight. I know you're in Pennsylvania and we're in Minnesota, but that's going to get there completely perfect. I know exactly how it's done. That confidence on the phone when they're selling is just over the moon. It's extremely successful. Credit card policy. This is a good one. He can have it.
Yeah. So credit card policy. So this is something that we actually just did a small revamp at our place in the last few weeks. Number one, accept all cards. For anyone who's hanging out because Amex costs more or something, yeah, that was like 8 years ago. Get over it. CVV2 and AVS, if you don't know what they are, you shouldn't be taking credit cards, right? I mean, we all know what they are, but you want to center policies around them. So what we did is we determined groups of customers and the level of risk that we want. And we do that by, you know, is it a body shop? Is it a retail customer? Is it just a call-in? Is it a walk-in? What is it? And so from there, then we define dollar levels for each group. So we'll take, like, say, the body shop group. And when I say the body shop group, I don't mean just someone who says I'm a body shop. I mean someone who is in CCC as a known yard. They subscribe to a CCC product. They subscribe to an Autotex product. Maybe they're on Parts Trader. Like, these are real verified shops that are doing work. So with those, we set up rules and dollar levels that we're good with. And what I mean by that is we're not going to chase after a body shop for a signature on a credit card, make sure that the CVV2 matched when it's just a $250 deal. We're not going to do it. We're not going after that. If it's a $5,000 deal, yeah, everything's going to come into play. It's going to have to be perfect. Defining policies like, and this kind of ties into a later discussion, but where are you going to ship the product to? Are you really going to let someone from Pennsylvania call you, give you a credit card, and you're shipping this thing to Vegas? Really? Anyone does that? You're crazy. You're nuts. Unless you know them, unless you have verified who they are, don't do it. It's just going to be fraud. 1 out of 4 is going to fail, and you're going to end up with nothing. So from there, you create your policy. You get something that's single-sided, maybe double-sided, and you get it to your sales staff. You may have technology that you can enforce this. We do. We don't have to really, we teach the policy, but we enforce it electronically. A lot of our business policies are enforced by software. And so that gives us a lot of scalability. But do that, get it on a sheet, get it in front of your sales staff, get them trained on it, make them aware of what the heck is going on. So from there, then you got to run your metrics. You got to track your chargebacks, you got to see what's happened, you got to see what you got for fraud, and adjust your groups back. And don't put everything all in one. Just because it's a chargeback, it doesn't mean that it was fraud. Maybe you suck. Maybe you sent them a headlight that was folded like a taco, right? And you don't want to admit it. It was $3,500 BMW headlight. I'm not taking it back. No, if you were bad, you were wrong. You were wrong. So you got to identify them and then go back to those groups and adjust them. And for us, that's something we did recently. We actually went into like our body shop group and we raised the amount. And a little bit of wild, wild west. We'll see how it goes. But you know, for us, it was probably saved us 4 to 5 man hours a day for sales staff because they were trying to get signatures on smaller dollar amounts, like in the $500 range, and it had to be changed. We couldn't. It's just too much. The volumes right now are so high that it had to be changed. And so our management team identified it. They came to us. They asked for the change. We ran the stats. We ran the numbers. We made the change, instituted it, done. And we'll see what happens. But I think we'll be happy with it. And last thing, so realize that too tight of rules, if you're living in this world and you don't ever have fraud chargebacks, you're losing sales, right? You got to run the risk a little bit. For us, I think we're right at about, I don't know, 0.25%, maybe 15 points. It's not much. We don't have a lot of fraud, but we have some. If you're above probably 3/4, you're probably in a bad place. Like you got a lot of fraud going on. You can definitely control it. But you know, the too loose is too loose. You're going to lose a lot of money. So, and one thing that we don't do is it always seems that every time the deals get hairy or people want extra rules or permission is always the classic, hey, you've had that motor for a day and I want to buy it and I want to ship it. My grandma's going to pay for it. Mike's got a story he can tell. But those are always the deals that it'll sell tomorrow anyway, even if you don't sell it today. So just hold out. You know, if it's a headliner for a Caravan you're getting $1,800 for, it's a different story. Run the risk. So then I broke this rule, but never tell your customers the rule. because the one that are fraudsters, then they'll know the rules and they'll know how to skirt them. Case in example would be our friend that we had in Florida that ordered, I don't know, what, 20, 30, 40, 50 key fobs for Hondas and did chargebacks on all of them on us. And he did it over the course of like a week. But because he had figured out that, hey, $500, that was the number. I gotta stay below that. So $490, bam, through, bam, 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 bam. And it just doesn't get caught, right? So don't tell your customers the rules.
And make sure your staff don't tell the customers the rules.
Yeah, make sure your staff doesn't tell the customers the rules. And I just told you the rules, so now you know. So, okay, next thing I'm gonna cover common sense return policy. So if you're selling parts, you're gonna have returns, right? So get over it, get over yourself. Don't think that your stuff is better. We sell recycled auto parts, we sell surplus, we sell new, we sell it all gets returned, it all has issues. Some of it's great, some of it sucks, some of it we were really proud of, and then we found out it was not the way to be. So think of your return as a way to save a customer. One of my most favorite stories is it's been a long time now, like 6-7 years. We had a Subaru dealership in the middle of North Dakota, and they ordered a stick tranny for some kind of Subaru. It wasn't a WRX, but it was a pile of junk. So anyway, so the Subaru dealership, they ordered this tranny. We sent it out to them. Second gear is bad in it. They didn't buy any labor warranty or anything, so they're going to swap it out. We're going to get them another one. We send them another one. We tell them, well, we're real sorry, but it sounds like these things are kind of a common issue. Whatever, grab us another one, send it out. We send it out, they put that one in, junk, second gear's blowing. Okay, all right, get me another one. Get them another one, send it out there, oh, junk, it's blowing. And all along, they're like, this is just great that you guys are willing to work with us. And I'm thinking, you're nuts. You're totally nuts, but thank you. But that's an example of doing what the customer wants, taking care of them as best you can. You know, we had a standing relationship with them anyway, but that definitely put a strain on it. But after that, their sales increased, right? Imagine that. So we've had plenty of other shops too where we've had a really just ugly deals. But if you step up to the table, you take care of them, you do the right thing, it always makes a difference, and they're always willing to come back. So that goes along to the next one. So maybe you can save the sale, or maybe you can make a new sale with a return. That might be side shifting of products. Maybe you had them in a recycled engine and you're going to move them up to a reman. Whatever you got to do. Sometimes you just got to abandon the deal, and for us that might be we're going to pay out a labor warranty claim on it, and we're just going to give them a refund and just walk because the market is horrible and we can't replace the product, or there's just no options. Sometimes there's just no options. So. If you're able to track your returns by customer, the results may surprise you. You know, one that always surprises me is the eBay return rate is so low. You know, people complain about the marketplace, it's aggressive, it's difficult, it's tough, but 2% return rate, come on, that's awesome. You know, no one has to deal with that. And then separating it out, you know, like your MSOs, stuff like that, and realize that your policies may be affecting those return rates in the way that you do things. And just bringing it all in the full circle so that you can try and come up with a better plan to return your return, or to lower your return rates. No hassle returns go a long way against big sellers. And what I mean by that is if you make it difficult for your customer to return parts, you make it difficult for your customer to return to you. So Ron Sturgeon has said it for how long? There's been tons of people in our industry that say it. Just give me your money back, just smile, just do it, get it over with, because it's going to happen anyway. So whatever you have for a written policy, you're going to need to deviate from it, right? It's going to happen, you know it will. You're going to get a body shop that maybe you do $200,000-$300,000 worth of business a year and they ask for something special. Just do it, just get it over with. If they're asking all the time, well then you can think about it. Maybe you need to change it, but always be willing to deviate a little. But do that behind closed doors with your management. Don't go out telling your sales staff that you're making those big changes, because once you do it for them once, then they think you're going to do it for them all the time. So try and keep it hush-hush to a degree.
Everyone's got a warranty. Everybody writes it different. You have exclusions. You have what's included, what's not. Again, auto parts are going to fail. Just like a return, you're going to have returns. Ours fail, yours fail, it happens. The biggest part is, what is your plan when it does happen? When that part fails, what's the plan? What are we going to do? You know, customers, unfortunately, but not only customers, pretty much everyone, we always remember the worst. We don't remember the 20 times when everything went fantastic. The 20 times our flight was on time and our flight landed and everything was great. It's that one time, oh, Delta sucks. And that's what we remember. We don't remember all the good. It's no different in this case. Qualifying your customer back at the beginning, the sales presentation, qualifying the customer, the shop, what are their warranty needs at the point of sale, pricing one price with the correct warranty. It simplifies the sales transaction because tyranny of choice just complicates the transaction. It gets it really muddied for the customer. Now, I don't remember what I was paying for. Was I paying for the 120 day? Did I buy labor? Did I not buy labor? Was it 1 year? What did I even do? I don't remember. Warranty resolution is far easier if the salesperson outlines key feature of the warranty at the point of sale. So again, because we are very policy driven, I gave this example. We have one of our training sheets in our sales manual is major part components. This one is for an engine and what the salesperson says at the point of sale. Seasoned staff have it memorized. New staff, they have the sheet as a guide. The warranty on this engine covers the long block heads, head gaskets, and internal lubricated parts. We do not warranty or guarantee any of the unbolt accessories. So for example, the wiring harness, manifold, external seals, gaskets, they're included for your convenience. That's covered at the point of sale. You may think it's a lot, but when you get to the point of a warranty and resolution, it's very, very easy to resolve a warranty issue when all of this is covered on the forefront. When it's covered after the fact, when there's an issue on the table, there's a problem, and then you're telling the customer, well, the warranty doesn't cover that. Well, you must have done something wrong. That never goes well. Something that we did years ago, 5 years ago now, and we did it to really align our product choices. Us, like many of us, or many of you, we do reman motors, reman trannies, we do reman axles, differentials, TKs. We do a lot of reman product for driveline. And many of those suppliers, the reconditioning, the remanufacturing providers, they sell an option for a no-fault warranty. No fault, doesn't matter. Well, let's just face it, it's always your fault if there is a problem. So we extended that type of a concept to our used parts, allowing a customer to buy a no-fault warranty on a used part. You may go, you guys are completely nuts. And I can tell you, it is crazy how much sell-through there is on that option, but more importantly, how resolution is much better having that discussion up front on labor and offering some option at the point of sale. It's just incredible.
All right, shipping and freight. So I got a lot to say on this topic, but I'll make it as fast as I can. My number one pet peeve is, do you really know what it costs you to ship your parts? I hear so many times, so many yards, they say, it's $50 to LTL a motor. Yeah, right, I'm sure it does. What about employee labor, packing, and materials? Make sure you calculate that into what you're doing too. Realistically, you should be putting a little bit of building costs in there, all of that, because that's all part of it. If you have 10,000 square foot distribution center, you certainly didn't get it for free. So then you're gonna determine how you're gonna recover your delivery costs. Are they gonna be in the part? Are they gonna be additional to it? How are you gonna invoice it out? How's it gonna happen, technically from a standpoint? So for us, our invoices show the delivered price for pretty much everyone. We don't split out delivery charges. They're in there in the database that way. Obviously, if you're running a salesperson with commission, that's part of your calculation. If 10% of that invoice is going to be delivery costs, well, if you're on full commission, you're paying 10% more and you're absorbing it. So, and then when it comes to return, you have to resolve that too with the customer. So it can be difficult. Is your shipping cost, is it a profit center or break even or less? For us, we run about a 5% profit per se after we do our employee labor and our packaging materials and everything, and we consider that a pretty safe buffer. I know some people think that our freight charges, what we charge, are a little on the higher end, but I can tell you with me only making, or us only making 5% on it, that is not the case. They are pretty accurate. We already covered this, freight costs hit on the invoice, paying commission on freight costs or sales staff. How do you handle shipping on returns and core pickups, right? So one of the things we changed in the last 3-4 years is on our core pickups, we sell a ton of reman wheels, and I mean a ton. And when we do that, we calculate that money in right on the front side of it. So if we know there's a wheel core involved and shipping a wheel to the said customer to be 25, we're putting 50 down because we know we're going to spend the money on the call tag. It's just included in the price of the wheel. One price for the customer. They don't need to know any of that. They know there's a core involved, but we're just taking care of everything for them. So, because that's what they're going to expect. And guess what? Then when they don't return the core 33% of the time, cha-ching. And that's not salesperson cha-ching, that's management cha-ching, right? Because that was shipping money. So, choose reliable carriers and negotiate a discount. If you can't do any of that, if you're not big enough, join a group. There's plenty of them out there that can get you discounts. You know, we were part of the FedEx sweep where they fired LTL customers. We were one of the 1,000 that got the call on Friday at 10 a.m. from our local terminal manager that said, hey, we're going to pick up your stuff today, but Monday is going to be a little difficult. In fact, we won't be coming back again. And at the time, you know, we're running 2 national carriers. We were using FedEx LTL for national because they're pretty darn reliable and they're pretty fast, even with today's environment. And so we were using XPO, so for us it wasn't that big of a deal. We switched over to XPO, they have higher rates, but whatever, we were still able to survive. I know there were lots of people who did not survive that. And then internally in FedEx, that was it was $1 billion mistake. It's crazy.
We spent $1.4 million with FedEx last year, and to get that call on a Friday that you're fired, and then we have to ship product on Monday. This is like a lot of not cool in that whole scenario. But we're back with FedEx now. Third from the top called us for a video call to apologize from FedEx for the oversight and misstep and blah, blah, blah. Great, show it to me in money.
Yeah.
You want more discounts.
Exactly, so.
We're back with FedEx.
Yep, we got a little money out of them. It's good for us, yeehaw. So here's another one that I see on the salvage form. Do you understand the risks of allowing a customer to arrange their own shipping in their freight? You as the shipper, it's you, right? Once it leaves your door in an LTL carrier, if that bill doesn't get paid, it's your responsibility. Just understand that. If you don't, and the worst case about that is if you let someone else arrange their freight and SIA or a company that you never deal with, they show up, you don't have any contract negotiated with them, they pick it up, they deliver to the customer, would have been on FedEx, maybe you would have got it there for $175. SIA, $1,875, you're paying it. You don't get a discount. It's not gonna happen. And if you think they're gonna let that money go, you're wrong. They will chase you down, they will hunt you down, they will take you to court, they will send you to collections, they will get it out of you unless you're going out of business. I guarantee it. They got their ways. So it's federal law. That's just the way it works. So be aware of it, know your risks. Body cuts. I also see this on the salvage form. People are, you know, hey, should we even do body cuts? Is it even worth it? Well, how could it not be worth it? Make it the price that it's worth it to you. If it's $750 to cut a center pill out of a car for you, then put that price on it. Yeah, you won't sell many, but you'll sell some. So it shouldn't be that bad for you, but just make the price worth it for you. This is a big one lately, especially if you're doing later model vehicles. You need to understand the new metals that are in the vehicle and how they affect the cuts. So a good example of that is if you're gonna do a center pillar cut on a car and you're gonna get to the customer and they think that they're gonna section it in and you're trying to cut it and you're going through 8 Sawzall blades to get through this stuff, they're not gonna be able to install it unless they're only doing the outside skin. So did you have that conversation with them? Is that on your cut sheet? What's the expectations with the customers? You gotta have that all kind of prearranged. So we're the parts professionals, right? That's the claim to fame. And I don't mean Pam's, I mean everyone in this room. We're the parts pros, they're the repair professionals. We need to keep that clear distinction. So we should know the parts. We should sound confident about what we do, and that definitely goes into the body parts part of it. And definitely teaching your staff, you know, pull them up some of these Mitchell diagrams or CCC diagrams, whatever it is, showing them all the mix of the borons and all the high speed, you know, or the high strength steels in the car and where they kind of are, so they get it. So that they understand that, hey, if I'm gonna sell this type of cut to a customer, I need to ask them, what in the heck are they really gonna do with it? Even some of them won't, like 2-3 years ago, we had for the first time ever, we had sold a Jetta or a Golf quarter panel. And the customer calls me and goes, yeah, I got to return it. It just ain't going to work. Well, what do you mean it ain't going to work? Man, this car was beautiful. It had a rear clip on it. We cut the quarter out just for you. It looked gorgeous. I seen it down in QA. It was nice. Yeah, it is really nice, but It's laser welded together. Well, what does that mean? I don't know. What the heck are you talking about? Oh, he's got these little welds on it. He sends a picture of them. I'm like, man, this thing's like 16th inch wide. You can't pop them apart? No way, dude. You try it when you get it back. We can't take it back. There's nothing wrong with it. I know you can use it. You should have told us this. Eventually, I go down out to the vehicle. I take a chisel and I try and take one of these welds apart. It's like, yeah, no wonder you don't want to use it. This ain't going to happen. This is a non-recyclable quarter panel. It is never going to happen. So just take it back. Smile. Customer told us, educated us. We don't sell those anymore. We make sure we don't. I don't even know how many cars are on. It's not my job, but I taught my staff how to identify them. They know how to. They don't even have an inventory. So this is big for us. Use cut sheets. Require the customer to fill them out clearly. Don't have your sales staff fill them out and sign them for your customer. That doesn't really count. Don't have nasty things on them like, we absolutely accept no returns. You bought this, you're stuck with it. We don't care what it looks like. Comes in folded like a taco, it's your problem. Like, that's not what you want. Just put on there what you need. Get the info from the customer, have a nice diagram. Put clear cut lines in there. You know, there's always seams in the sides of vehicles and places, and try paying attention to it and make sure your customers get it too. Make sure your return policy is printed on the sheet, as friendly as it can be. No one likes to take the stuff back, but once again, you know, it's always math. So if you know that 15% of your body cuts are coming back and you can't defend against it or you don't want to, so charge 20% more, right? Like if you do a good job at it, you think your customer is going to call up someone 3 states away and order it? Because there's freight involved. If they can get it from you locally, you're just in a different market. So, and that's one of the benzene guys we were talking about that yesterday, you know. If it ain't worth it to you, just charge more. And it'll be worth it to them. And if it ain't worth it to them, then they just won't sell. And there's a limit to that. You don't want to put yourself in the market as being the high price yard that can't buy nothing from. But balance it out for yourself. So, and then the last thing, like I say, returns are going to happen. Be professional. Plan on it. Put yourself a buffer. If that's what it takes for you internally to be okay with how it works out, make sure the financials are in your favor. Don't tell the customer, wow, we paid the price 20% just so we feel better. Don't tell them that. Just do it.
Hey, 2 quick examples of body cuts that happened this week. Nissan Kick quarter panel, $850 is what we sold it for. 2007 FJ Cruiser. We do a lot of FJ Cruisers because I really like them. So 07 FJ Cruiser quarter panel, $1,050. We're not shy about the price. Just that's what it's. We're not cutting it. We'll just crush the car with it then.
Yeah.
But they do sell. They're worth our time. I'm gonna do this a little bit quick so we have a little bit of Q&A at the end. Customer resolution. Some of this is very basic stuff. Put yourself in the customer situation. Listen actively. The customer wants to be heard. The customer doesn't want to hear you. Just listen. Gather all the facts. Repeat the customer's concerns. So our team is trained in this exact process. Get all the information, create an RA live, and then repeat the concerns. Of course, empathize, be apologetic, be professional. If unsure of a solution, ask the customer what will make them happy. Just do it. Just do it. Just try it. Just throw it out there. You may be surprised how this really mad customer only wants $100. And you're like, what? Why are we talking? Yeah, done. It is okay to pull the ripcord, take a timeout, and call the customer back with options. That is an okay option. Just make sure you say when you're going to call them back and call them back when you're going to call them back. If it's in an hour, do it in an hour. If it needs to be the next day, make sure it is the next day. Once you've agreed on a solution, explain the steps and the timeline, super important. And number 8, I absolutely love, and I will do contests with our sales team. Okay, this Friday, by Friday, I want these examples, and I'm giving a $100 gift card to the one that I like the most. After a few days, follow up with the customer and make sure that they are happy and sell them something. It's crazy. Like this really bad, yucky deal, and they call them back up. Is there anything that you need today? Well, there actually is. I need this. Great, credit card number, go. It's very, very important, number 8. Okay, we got the questions.
Whew, finally, sorry. So yeah, so I am on the other side of the fence of that. don't dare charge a customer to use a card. Just do it. And on the flip side of that, so we actually just started this week, because we do a lot of technology, we started submitting level 3 data with our credit card. So on the best cards for Moto transactions, we're paying 1.4% plus interchange. So if you're not doing stuff like that, you should definitely be submitting level 2. That should get you in the 2.5 range, maybe 2.4. You know, when I hear numbers thrown out like we charge our customer 4% to take a card, that's an insult. When that happens to Mike and I and we're on the phone, I nearly hang up. I'm not interested. So it just shouldn't be that way. So
It's a great question. We live in a little small town. We have a little small town meat market. I love it to death. I went there as a kid and bought candy. They charge 3% if you use a credit card. Guess what's right down the street? Another meat market, and they accept credit card and they don't charge a fee. Guess which one I go to? It's so silly, but our customers do the same thing.
yeah.
So it's a great question though.
I do believe that whatever solution you look for, you should try and be able to infuse your business policies in it. Because there's nothing better than just having the product, setting it free, and the sales staff can't run off the rails, right? That's our goal every day. Everything that we do technology-wise, the sales staff kind of can't make a mistake. So. Yeah, so the way you would do that to be PCI compliant is you would have a hosted solution. So what that looks like for us is we take the phone call, sales staff have a web browser up. The web browser is a credit card provider site, and then we go through that and enter the credit card. So we actually never put the credit card info into our local database anywhere. Part of that is for PCI compliance too, is you're gonna have to make sure you encrypt your phone calls. If you were recording calls and you're not encrypting them, that has to be done too. Those are two of the big things that you're gonna have for failures in PCI compliance, so.
Yeah, there should be a local representative for your region or area. So a higher level manager of some sort. A distribution center that's by you, there's really nobody there that can help with negotiating, your tariff. There just isn't. In our area, our contacts of that nature have been with the companies a very long time, 20 years, 30 years. They're very well established in negotiating on your behalf. A lot of it is volume based, so a lot of a discount is based on volumes. In the FedEx scenario, our discount, fortunately or unfortunately, our discount was because we were shipping both small package and LTL with them. So we had a relationship between the two. And our case was a little bit different because we were told you're shipping too much in these lanes and these lanes are congested, so we're trying to get volume out. So because we were a very high volume, you're done. Not cool.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you enter into those types of agreements with UPS, FedEx, SAIA, XPO, they're gonna bring out things called revenue bands. Right? That's kind of where they want to tier you. Like they go, hey, you're at this dollar amount, but boy, if you could just do this much more, we'll give you this big discount. And a lot of times you got to be careful because they kind of know how to do the math for the growth. It could be hard for you to match that growth, which is good because if you have like 2 carriers that you're using, you can side shift into one and get into that revenue band to get that discount. So, but just be careful. Don't take upfront. Like some of them, it's common for them to come up like, hey, we'll give you $10,000 worth of technology product as long as you use us and you meet the revenue bands, it's free. Well, if you don't meet the revenue bands, they're gonna come looking for money. It won't be 10 grand, but it'll be some of that.
I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, don't miss out on our next conference and expo. We're gonna have tons of amazing educational sessions, tech talks, networking with your peers, all of the vendors that you need to speak to take your business to the next level, and amazing amenities. Don't miss out.